For years now, everybody's been asking us, when I upgrade my head unit, can I maintain the use of my factory microphone in my Toyota truck? Until now, the answer's been no. Today, we're going to change that. All right, everybody, this is the solution you've been waiting for. This can be easily added to your existing aftermarket head unit. This is the Maestro MIC1. This is a factory microphone integration module that will allow you to retain the factory microphone in your vehicle even after replacing your head unit to an aftermarket upgrade. This module is super simple to set up and pairs perfectly with the Maestro RR or RR2 if you have one of those installed in your vehicle already. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to unbox this, program it, set it up, and connect it to your favorite aftermarket head unit. Tools required for this job, not a whole lot. You'll need your aftermarket head unit with a maestro-compatible harness and a Maestro module. You'll need a computer so that we can use our WebLink programming software. There is a cord for programming that comes included in the boxes. Other than that, that's it. It's a couple of simple steps, a couple of cords to connect, and you'll be maintaining the factory microphone in your Toyota truck. Before we get into the programming, let's go ahead and unbox the MIC1. So I've got a brand new one here. Let's go ahead and we'll cut the tape back and I'll show you everything that comes in the package. So as we open it up here, we have our little quick start guide. This is going to help you get the WebLink software downloaded to your computer. And then as we pull it out, here we have the Maestro MIC1 module. Again, a nice small compact module. This will fit perfectly in the dash of your vehicle. Here we have a couple of cords. So as we open the little baggie here and we pull these out, so we have a data cable, we have a power T harness. So this is a completely plug and play solution. And then we have 3 different audio cords. So depending on which head unit you're using this with, there are different audio jacks for your microphone location. So if we look at this one, it has a tag on it that says JVC, KW for Kenwood, Sony, Boss, or Jensen. We also have one for Alpine, and then we have one more for Pioneer. So you're gonna select the harness that applies to the radio that you have. So today I'm going to show you on a Sony head unit. So we'll find the one that says JVC Kenwood Sony, and then we'll set the other 2 to the side. And then the last one is the microphone retention cable. So we're going to leave these out and I'm going to show you exactly how to connect all of these. But first we're going to program our module. All right, we've got our computer set up. So the first thing that we need to do is if you open your little instruction quick start guide, there's a website. It is iDatalink.com/plugin. That's the website that you are going to want to go to on your computer to download the WebLink desktop app. That will give us the ability to then flash our module. This is the same software that we use to flash the MIC1 as we do the Maestro RR. So in the Maestro RR kit, in the extra parts is this USB-C to USB-A. So I have that connected. You just have to connect this to your computer however you need to, depending on the ports. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Maestro/Maestro. Now you will need to set up an account. So if you don't have an account already, you can go down here and hit sign up, you fill out your information, and then that will give you a username and a password to log into the application later. This is helpful because any of the devices that you program under your username, you can then go back and look up off of the website without having to reconnect the module and pull the data. A nice little way to go back and maybe double check some of the settings. So we already have a login, so let me get logged in here. All right, so we're going to go Maestro/Maestro, and then if you don't have your device connected, you're going to see an invalid detection. So on our MIC1 right here on the side is a USB-C connection. We're going to take our little USB-C cable and all we're going to do is plug the module in. You can see that the red LED indicator light came on, and then I also got a message on my computer asking if I wanted to allow an accessory to connect. So I'm going to say allow. And now that we have the light on, the computer is giving the Maestro enough power to be programmed. So we're going to say redetect. And now we can see that our Maestro MIC1 is detected. So the information that we're going to need to fill out is all going to be provided in the drop-down menus. All we're doing is just filling in the boxes here. So we're going to say flash by vehicle, and then you're going to pick the year of your vehicle. So for this example, I have a 2021, and then the next option is going to be select your make. So we're going to find Toyota, and then you're going to select your vehicle. Again, these questions on here, so we can see it says 4Runner with or without JBL. That's in relation to how your vehicle came from the factory, not necessarily what modifications or what audio upgrades you have done after the vehicle was made. So important note there, answer these questions based on how your vehicle came from the factory when it was originally made. So I'm going to scroll down because I'm going to use my truck as an example. So we're going to find I have a Tundra. Mine originally had the JBL system. So I'm going to select with JBL. And now it's going to ask us what kind of head unit that we're wanting this to talk to. So here we have a Sony on the table. So we're going to click Sony. Now it's going to pull up all of the Sony head units. So you can also go up here to the search bar, and the one that we have on the table is a 6000. So here we go, XAV AX6000, and we're going to select that. It's going to give us the recommended firmware. So usually the most recent firmware will be here up at the top. If for some reason something happens and either Maestro or ourselves, we tell you, hey, we need to revert back to the previous firmware, you can get that information here if you click see all available firmwares. So that's going to pull up, in this case, the current firmware is also the only firmware. But just an important note there, very, very rarely do we have to roll back to the previous firmware for certain issues. So we're going to choose the recommended firmware. And then the only setting that we need to worry about in this is the MIC1 gain offset. So as we click the drop-down menu here, you'll see that it defaults to 0 dB. There's also a +5 dB, a +10 dB, and a -5 and -10 dB. So we've tried this, we've tested it in our vehicles, in our shop vehicles. We tried it at 0 dB, and what the people on the other end of the phone would say is, hey, I can hear you, you just seem a little bit quiet. So what we did is we pulled the module back out and we bumped it up to the +5 dB. They said this sounds perfect, it sounds just like it did before. So you do have some adjustment there and some ability to control the microphone sensitivity. So again, our kind of recommendation is we're going to say start with the +5 dB and give that a try. If people still say that you're a little bit quiet, you can go to +10, or if they're like, hey, stop screaming at me, you can also adjust it down. But we're going to start at +5 dB, and then we're going to hit continue. And now it brings us to our last screen. This is a summary screen. So it gives you one chance to look over everything that you've input into the system and just make sure that it's correct. So yes, we do have a MIC1. We have a 2021 Tundra with JBL. We were connecting it to a Sony 6000. That is the firmware, and our mic gain offset is at +5. Now down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to hit flash, and it's going to verify the device, and then it's going to program our device. So you can see flash in progress. All right, it's going to validate it, and it's going to fetch the install guide. For Toyotas, we are going to use wiring diagram B. You can grab this from this screen. So we're going to go here to install guides. You can also email the install guide to yourself from the screen. So we're going to go to the install guide, and you see it opened up here in another tab. And then right here, there's a reference screen. So again, this MIC1 doesn't work just for Toyotas, it works for a whole bunch of vehicles. So we want to find the vehicle harness that we have. So in Toyota, we use the HRR TO1, TO2, and TO3. So that means we're going to be in wiring diagram B, which I have printed out here in front of me. This will also be in the installation guide on our website. and we'll link it on the product page so that you guys have it. And then that diagram is basically going to tell us how we need to connect our cables to our module and our module to the head unit. So let's close out the wiring diagram. And then here at this point it says the flash was completed with success. So you can now disconnect your MIC1 from your computer. All right, now we have our MIC1 programmed. Now it's time to connect the wires out of the MIC1 box. So we have wiring diagram B here printed off. Again, this will be in the installation guide. So we're going to orient our MIC1 how it shows in the picture, because all of the ports on the MIC1 are also labeled on the wiring diagram. So the first one we're going to install is the orange cable, and on the orange cable, the black 3-pin is going to go into 3B. So that is going to be here on the top of our module. You got 4A, white is 3A, black is 3B. So we're going to connect that in there. And then we're going to install our powered T-harness. So let's see, we find our T-harness here. That is going to go, there's a black 4-pin connector on this. That is going to go into 4A, which is again on the top of our module. It's going to be the black 4-pin right there. Next up, we have our red data cable. Let's go ahead and get the twist tie off of this one. And our red data cable is going to go into 4B, which this 4B is going to be on the bottom of the module. Again, a red port, red 4-pin connector. So we're going to plug one end into the bottom. And then our last cable is our headphone jack. So let's get the twist tie off of that one. And our blue connector, so down here at the bottom we have, let's see, there's the JVC Kenwood Sony one. That's the one we're looking for. That's going to go into 2A, which 2A is the blue 2-pin connector on the bottom of the module. So that snaps nicely into place. So now we can pull over our Sony head unit, and we're going to get access to our Maestro module. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to connect the power T-harness. So the power harness on the Maestro module is right here. It's got a yellow, a red, and a black wire. So we're going to disconnect that. The male end is going to go into the female end of our T-harness. And then this has a male end, which is going to go back into the Maestro module. Our red cable here, if we follow our wiring diagram, is going to go into the red port here on the Maestro. Our orange cable here on our main wiring harness, right here next to our factory vehicle connectors. You have, on the one connector, you have an orange one. It's even labeled mic. So that's going to connect there. If you've purchased one of our head unit bundles in the past, we've typically taped this up with a little bit of black tape just to keep it out of the way. So if you're adding this MIC1 to an existing TrailGrid Pro plug-and-play head unit bundle, you're going to want to just get rid of that tape, and then your orange mic connection will be right here. It's going to be on one of the main vehicle connectors. If you have an aftermarket microphone already installed in your vehicle, you can uninstall that and put your factory one back in. Where this is going to connect is right on the back of the head unit, wherever the microphone port is. So on the Sony, it happens to be right here, the red mic port. We're just going to plug that in. So again, if you have an existing Sony or Alpine, Kenwood, JVC head unit and you ran the provided microphone, you're going to unplug that, you're going to plug this back in, and then also please make sure that you have your factory microphone still installed either in the headliner, in the headliner console, so that that system will work properly. That is it. We now have all of our data cables, we have our headphone jack, we have our power, our Maestro MIC1 is flashed, everything's set up. You can now put this back in your vehicle and give it a test. All right, guys, it's that easy. Like I said at the beginning of the video, everybody's been asking, what about my factory microphone? Well, here's the solution. It's a very, very simple, easy install. Probably the hardest part is if you already have your head unit installed, you're gonna need to pull it back out to make access to the back of the head unit and the Maestro. I showed you guys the steps, how to program it. Super simple. Again, if you want to pick up your own mic1 for your Toyota, head over to the shop and get yours today at trailgridpro.com. And like always, have a blast out there.